Welcome to Have a Happy Arty Time. My name's Janette and I'm here with part one of a two-part lesson where we're going to be combining soft foam stamps with styrofoam stamped backgrounds. So let's begin. I have my line drawings available to you. So again, just email me if you would like them, and thank you everyone for emailing me and getting your line drawings. I look forward to seeing your art sometime if you'd like to ever share it with me. Okay, so these are the images that I'm wanting to produce, and I'm going to be first using my large gel plate to stamp down my styrofoam, and then I'm going to be using my small gel plate to place the stamps in place on here. Now you can see I've drawn out the image on here and indented the styrofoam. If you're not sure how to make styrofoam stamps, please see my video. It'll be down in the description. And also the same for the soft foam stamps. I have a video on how to make those as well. So I'm going to roll out some blue to make the blue background on here. So I'm just going to place that down there. Press that nicely onto the gel plate, nice and firm. Give it a light roll with a clean brayer, just so I can see how I go. Now there's two ways I can do this. I can either stamp this down onto a piece of paper, or I can lift it, or as you know me, I'm going to do both. So I'll lift that up. We can see we have a nice coverage here, so I'm just going to place that down here on this paper, give it a roll, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to just lay this on to pick up this print as well. So just rolling out this styrofoam piece. It's very dry. I'm not sure what I'll get, and also the same with this, but I'm just wanting a light coverage to begin with. And I'm just going to tape my piece of paper down so that I can place it back in the same spot. So I'll just grab my masking tape. Now I'm doing this just in case this doesn't pull the correct print, and I'll be able to rework it. Let's have a little peek. So I won't need that masking tape, and we'll just have a look at this print. That's given me a beautiful background. I love the background, so I'm going to leave this and work on this in a little while. So we'll go on and make some more backgrounds. Now I'll pull this print, see if we got anything underneath the styrofoam. As I say, it was very dry, but we did. That's wonderful. So you can see I have been able to transfer the paint, however very lightly, onto this, and I'm still going to use this and see how we can bring this up. So I'll go again. This time I might use some green. So the same thing again, we're going to pop our styrofoam down, get that print on there, roll it with a clean brayer, just to see if we can transfer that down. Now I'm going to lift this. Yes, we have some green, so I'm going to now place this down, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I've cut out the size I need for a card, so I'm going to place this onto my styrofoam, turn this over and give that a really good press down before this dries. I'm going to place this on, give this a good roll, and this a good roll, working rather quickly here. Now I'm just pressing lightly on the other side of this now that I've turned it over, because I don't want to take out my line drawing on top of the styrofoam, or flatten it I should say. Let's see if we were able to get anything here. Very, very light, this one. Okay, so what I've done is tape down my paper. We know that this hasn't transferred as good as we would like, so I'm just going to lift this off very gently. We can still see our image there. I'm just going to come back to about here, and I'm going to use a gel matte medium, and I'm going to see if I can roll that out and then lay this back down and pick up that print. So I'm going to put it over here. So we'll just see if this works. Lay this down again, and I might need to leave my ever so faithful heavy book on top of this to see if I can pull this print. I've got that down there. Use my little Baron, get my heavy books, and I'm just going to leave that on there for about 20 minutes. Okay, so it's been about an hour since I've been able to get back to this, so I will just take off these heavy books. So far so good. It's still a little wet too. Just lovely. Wonderful. Okay, so I have a very light blue here with the tempera, so I'm going to pop that down. This is just the poster paint. I have my stamp. I'll just dry that off a little. I tried to wash off the paint, but I wasn't very successful. I'd left it on there way too long, but it shouldn't cause too much of a problem. Okay, we'll get our foam, pop him down, take a little bit of this paint off here on the brayer, just back and forth. I'm wanting a little bit of green and blue paper, so that'll work lovely. And we'll just go over this, give it a nice press in, and we'll pull this one off. And I can see probably going to need a little bit more paint. So I'm just going to get this off here. Just roll that over there. I'm going to grab my blue paper here, just place that on here. And I'm going to pop this like this, and I'm going to place this one down here and see what we get. So I'll just get my scissors to cut this piece of paper. There we go. Lift this one off now. Give this a good roll. And I'm loving this. Maybe I'll grab a little bit of leaf and see what we get here. Okay, very wet this one. Okay, let's see. I think I'll have squished him. There's a little bit. Oh no, they're still working. Nice and wet and simple with that poster paint. Okay, so I'll put him aside to dry and we'll see what we get here. Lift that up, place it down. As I say, very wet. We'll just get our spoon and lightly go over the top of this. So a bit of a disaster with this one, I'm thinking. Roll him instead. Oh well. And we'll see what we get. And it's actually beautiful. Isn't that amazing? So I've got a lovely subtle background in here, and that's going to come up just beautiful. It's so interesting. The ones you think that aren't going to work out sometimes do, as in this case, and the ones that you're really trying to work on sometimes don't work out. Alrighty, so we've got our backgrounds and we'll let them dry and I will be back to stamp them up. I'm just going to pull this little print off here as well before I get to the stamping. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's just lovely. So definitely be able to turn this into something. I love how you get a little bit of water on here and it just leaves these gorgeous marks. Okay, I'll see you when everything's dry. Okay, so we're back to do some stamping with these images to finish them off. Now you'll notice that when we put the styrofoam down, our bird comes out in this direction, and when we pick the print up off the actual gel plate, our bird came out in this direction. So it's really great because we get to see them in both directions. Okay, so we've got our images here and we'll start with this little background first. So with that in mind, then we need to make our stamps in both directions. So we have this little fella that's going to sit over here, and we have this little fella that's going to sit over here. Now there's a technique called white line printing, and it's done with wood, and it allows the finished product to have these beautiful white lines around whatever image that they're doing. And so this is why I'm doing it this way, because I wanted to also get these white lines there from the styrofoam. So yeah, a little exciting. So we're doing some white line styrofoam printing. Okay, so I've chosen this crimson color for the bird. I'm just going to roll it out onto the Gelli plate. Now I will be picking up some of these images over here as well, because sometimes, as you know, they can look really good, and it's very warm, very humid here at the moment. So I'm just going to see if I need water to start with. Probably not, and as you know, I always put down my image into my paint on the Gelli plate just to get it to start to pick up, and then I roll on here. So now just a trial run before I do this, because I want this one to be a good print. I'm just going to take a piece of paper, give a little stamp, little press down, just lightly, and see how we're going. And yeah, that's not too bad. A little bit of paint on there that I probably wouldn't normally have, just a little bit of excess. So we'll roll this out again, stick this on. It's a little bit of a different shape, this bird, but that's okay. And we'll just roll him out and gently press him onto our paper. Now we're wanting to save some of that white line around, so I'm just going to see where this goes. I think about there. And yes, we nearly have him. Pulled a little bit of paper off actually, talking too long. So I'm just going to roll this back over, give it a bit of a stamp. It is, as I say, very, very hot here. So I will be using water in my paint. We'll just do that quickly again. And lift him off and see how we go. So I need to let this one fully dry to be able to take that paint. So I'm going to move that aside. I'm going to need to wash up this stamp because I've got a bit of paper there. So I'll put him in my water. Okay, so I'm going to give my paint a little spray. Mix it around, see if we can get some more of that colour. I've just dipped the stamp into a little bit of water and removed the excess that was on there. It might work. Okay, I'm going to go back onto this one. It feels dry. So let's see how we go. Right, get that down. Be a little quicker. We might get something happening here. Yes, lovely. I can reinstate his eye and do everything after. So I'll move him out of the way and keep going with this stamp. Okay, a little look where he goes. Wonderful. Now I'll let that dry and I will be doing another coat of paint over him. And we'll start on this one. And before that dries, let's see if we can find where to put him here. We'll get him up. Okay, so it's a little bit wet, but I will add the white lines and things in, but we have got him on there. So we'll move him aside. I think what I'm going to do with this one is actually cut his little legs off, because I'm wanting to keep the legs that we had on the styrofoam. So I'm just going to get the scissors. And even if we have to do this a few times and build it up, it'll still probably be better than just squashing everything like I just did there. But I can see underneath that to do some work with him. So I'll move him along. My paint is now too thin, but I'll show you, we'll still be able to make these beautiful. So I've got this gorgeous little fella here. Now I'm just going to take a little piece of paper and I'm just going to remove a little bit off the stamp where the eye is. Love his little eye there, and that way it might allow us to get, we'll lift that one off, and lovely. Now this is the effect I'm looking for, because I love to see a little bit of the underneath within the bird itself, not completely covered like this. But I can show you now what we can do to bring this one back, I just get a little earbud and a little bit of water, a little bit of tissue, and I can just, if I haven't let him dry too much, which this one has dried, I can just lift a little bit there, and I can also take that back a little bit there. I'm getting that back now, showing that nice little white line. Just dab that off. Same for his little beak. Now you do this when it is still wet, and we'll just see, get a little bit in there for his wing. Okay, and if I just put a little bit of paint on there. So when we're wanting to take the paint off, we need to make sure we do it when it is still wet. And I'm not sure, I may be able to get a little bit out of this eye. Oh yeah, he's still coming up. But I'll probably just put a hole in the paper if I keep going. But I have lightened that off a little bit. Alright, so we've got our birds on. We'll now work with our leaves. I might just start with a little bit of the light green first and very gently put it down. And now we can see with our stamps. Okay. Wonderful. Loving it, loving it. I might just get this, do a little bit more on that. And see if we can't put this one on here. Pick him up. Lovely, just a very light bit. That's great. So just some lovely grungy bits. Just beautiful. You can see here we have that lovely print. I might just quickly add a tiny bit of the clear on here now. So this is the matte gel medium. Well, that's great. Awesome. Okay, put that aside. Now back to our stamping. Let's see if we can get this down here. Very good. And I'll just go ahead and put that on here. See how we go with this one. Wonderful. Stamp that down. Lovely. And we'll just go around and do these where they go here. Beautiful. The same for this little one. Lift him off. Oh, this is just working out really nice. I'll put that one up there. This one will go over here nicely. Even though it'll be a little bit different, it'll add some interest. Lovely. There we go. And I know the same for this one. Into that very small bit. Just give a light press to this little one. There we go. So I'm wanting to keep some of that white. So that's good. I'm happy with that. Okay, so we'll put him aside. Get this little fella. So that's that little fella. I will add his legs back in on this. I think I can turn this around the other way and see, add some legs. A little bit dark, a little bit too much. Lighter press. Okay, Now I'm intending to go around this one just with this one single leaf because I didn't cut out a separate one for that. So that'll just stamp them in there nicely, and I will colour them in. There we go, so that'll be worked on. That's good. This little fella, I'm just really loving this little fella with the white in here. I want to keep that in there. So what I'm going to do is actually paint this little one. So I'm actually going to get a little bit of the green paint. I'll just spray this up first. Just a bit of water on those jelly plates. Use a little bit of this. Just see what we get. And I'm going to set some paper on that with my trusty heavy book, of course, and just allow that to dry under it for quite some time now. So there's that one. I'll move it out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to get my paint, and I'm just going to leave some of that white there. Save going around this one. That's something different, something simple, and I can add more white and things with the gel pen after. Just really loving that. Okay, now I was going to do the same with this one. But you can see there's so many ways to finish them off. Okay, let those two dry. I'll just get a little bit of the brown and just paint that in as well. So I rinsed my brush off, and I'm just going to very lightly see if I can spread that around a little bit. Okay, so that's enough for me, and I can darken that all up later when I see how else it's looking. Okay, so we have all our images, and now to come back when they're fully dry and finish them off with a little bit of gel pen, etc., and add a couple of legs in. So I look forward to seeing you in part 2, where we're going to do some work on these beautiful projects. It's been great using the styrofoam and the soft foam stamps. So I hope that you have a happy arty time, and I'll see you then. Stay safe. Bye for now.